Hey, how are you? Chris Roselli here. Thanks a lot for coming by and watching this video. Today I'm going to go over some exercises that you can do to strengthen your trunk and spine muscles so that you can help prevent spinal injuries or spinal conditions that are very common in today's society. Okay, so all you need to do these exercises is a mat or something soft that you can lay on, and a chair or some kind of firm prop. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with just some gentle movements into some various directions to kind of loosen up our spine and kind of loosen up the muscles of our spine, and then we're going to go into some specific exercises that we can do to strengthen them. Okay, so there's three main motions of your spine that we want to be targeting with these exercises. Okay, the first one is called flexion, which is pulling forward. Okay, so what we're going to do to kind of loosen that up is we're just going to kind of curl ourselves in a little bit. Okay, just a few times, just to kind of open some things up. You can kind of think about bringing your sternum towards your pelvis, kind of bringing these 2 points together. Okay, the next one that we're going to do is called extension. So I'll turn to the side so you can see this better. We're going to actually arch our back and kind of stick it out like this. Okay, getting us all the way into this fully extended or pulled back position. Okay, now as you're going back, you can also kind of draw your butt up, which will help to extend your spine even further. And this is a really, really enjoyable motion to do, because this kind of alleviates some of the uneven pressure that we put on our spine by constantly being in this position. Okay, so you can just do a couple of these. Okay, and the third one that we're going to be focusing on with these exercises is rotation. Okay, so we can just do a simple standing rotation. Okay, going a couple times to the left. Okay, opening that up, not forcing anything, but just going as far as we can and holding for a second. Okay, and then going all the way to the right. Same thing. Just going as far as you can and just holding that end point. Okay, so now I'm kind of loosened up, I'm kind of warmed up. So now I'm going to get down and I'm going to start with the very first exercise, which will be for my flexors. Okay, so my abdominal muscles, the ones on the front side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lay down. Now, depending on where you are condition-wise, you may want to choose either the simple version of this exercise or one of the more challenging versions. I'm going to show you a couple, and you can pick and choose which one's most appropriate for you. If you don't do a lot of these types of exercises already, then I would suggest that you start with just the most simple one and work your way up to the more challenging ones. So what you're going to do to start with is you just lay down, have your knees bent, feet flat on the floor, your hands are going to be to your side, and you're just going to put your knees together, okay, kind of squeeze them together so that you feel a little bit of tension here in the lower abdominals. And you're just going to pull your knees towards your chest, okay? So now notice when I get all the way up towards my chest how my butt and my lower back is kind of coming up off the mat a little bit. Okay, that's what you want to get, is you want to get that full range of motion if you can, if it's comfortable, and you want to kind of hold that top position just a little bit. Okay? Now, the next variation of this exercise is where you're actually going to incorporate the other side of your spine as well. So, what's the other side? Well, it's your head and kind of your upper torso. So, as your legs and as your lower back is kind of coming up, you can bring your chest and head up towards your legs and then kind of let everything down all at once. Okay, now if you do it this way, you're going to need to kind of coordinate this motion a little bit, because it's going to feel a little awkward if, you know, your head's coming up, then your legs are coming up, and your legs are going down, then your head's coming down. Okay, so you want to try to kind of coordinate that motion so that everything's kind of moving in sync. Okay, head and chest are coming up as the legs are coming up. Okay? Now, if that also is easy for you, you can add a little bit of resistance by sticking your legs out. Okay, this is a lot more challenging though, so beware. If you try this, just make sure you're ready for it. Okay, but you can do this just like so.
I don't recommend going all the way down to the floor. That's going to really arch your back a lot. I would typically want people to stop at about 25 degrees or so, which would be about right here, and then go back up. Okay. Now, for each of these versions, whichever one's most appropriate, you can do about 10 or 15 repetitions of those, and then you can stop there, rest, and then do another set. Okay, now to incorporate the rotation into it, you can do the exact same thing with the lower half, but what you do with the upper half is you'd actually cross your arms on your chest, and then you would actually come up and rotate. Okay, so what you would do is, if you're rotating left, you would take your right shoulder and draw it to the left as you're coming up. Okay, now what a lot of people will do wrong with this is that they'll kind of just roll over into it. You don't want to do that. You want to keep your back flat on the mat, and you're coming up and you're rotating. Okay? And you can kind of incorporate that all into one movement as you get more comfortable with it. So you're just kind of coming up and rotating all at once. Okay, and you're going to feel that a little bit differently through here. Okay, you're going to get a little bit more of the oblique muscles in there and some of the other guys. Okay, and then you can do it to the other side as well. Okay, and again, you can do about 10 to 15 repetitions of that. I would suggest doing these after you do the pure flexion exercise, which I showed you earlier, and that'll be a really nice set of exercise to do for these muscles on the front side. Okay, so then we can flip around to the back, and for this we'll just lay flat on our stomach. Okay, arms are going to be to the side. Okay, now the easiest way to start off this exercise is to just lift up and hold. Okay, lifting up and holding is going to be a really good way to start working these muscles on the back side of our spine. Okay, and these muscles are some of the most underworked muscles in our entire body in terms of our exercising of them. So they really need to be part of your exercise plan. Okay, so this would be the easiest version. Okay, beyond that, you could actually do a full range of motion, up and down exercise. Okay, if you want to make that a little bit more challenging, then you would actually try to lift the legs up and do it from there. And if you really want to make that harder, you put your arms out in front and do it from there. Okay? Now breathing becomes a little challenging when you do these because your stomach is pressed against the mat. So just try to take some shallow breaths and keep your breathing rate normal while you're doing it. You're not going to be doing it for that long, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. Okay, so that's going to be how we'll start our core exercise program. Now, what we'll use the chair for is to kind of incorporate some other kind of finishing exercises to help to strengthen the trunk and spine muscles by using this as a brace. We can stand on one leg and bring one leg straight out to the side. Okay? This is going to really get a lot of these muscles as well as some muscles in our hips. And I suggest holding it there for about a count of 2 or 3 seconds and then bringing it back down. Okay? And you really want to spend some time at that highest point because that's going to help build strength in the weakest position of your joints and your muscle. Okay? Now, after you do it out to the side, what you can do is do it straight to the back. Okay? Now, for this one, you're probably not going to be able to go very far back before your back kind of starts to lean in. Okay? Just watch for that. You don't have to go really, really far. You don't have to try to get your leg up really high in the air. It's just about going to your maximal position and holding. Okay? So once you start to feel yourself bending forward, just stop the motion and just hold. Okay? And again, just hold for a few seconds and come back. Okay? So each one of these exercises can be done for about 10 to 15 repetitions. You'll probably want to rest for 20 to 30 seconds in between each one of them, and you could do 2 sets of each, going from one to the next, to the next, to the next, and then back around again. Okay, that's going to get you started with some really, really good strengthening of your trunk and spine muscles, and it's going to help to build up your spinal muscles' tolerance for the stresses that can cause injury. Okay, so it's going to help reduce their risk of injury, help keep it healthier for longer, and help prevent any of those spinal conditions that will typically sideline people for quite a while. All right, so email me if you have any questions about that, Chris@nonfictionfitness.com, and I will see you next time. God bless.